verse number 18. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hari Om Tat Sat. So Bhagavad Gita chapter 10 verse number 18. Someone can share. Vistarenatmano yogam vibhutim cha janardana bhuya kataya triptirhi srunvato nasti me amrutam. Vistarenatmano yogam vibhutim cha janardana bhuya kataya triptirhi srunvato nasti me amrutam. Vistare atmano yogam vibhutim cha janardana bhuya kataya triptirhi srunvato nasti me amrutam. Word to word translation. Word to word on it. Chapter 10, 18.
I'm sharing, Prabhuji.
Sharing? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Word. Vistarena, in detail. Atmanaha, your yogam, mystic power. Vibhutim, opulences. Cha, also. Janardhana, O killer of the atheists. Bhuya, again. Kataya, describe. Tripti, satisfaction. He, certainly. Srunvataha, hearing. Na asti, there is not. Me, my. Amrutam, nectar. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. O Janardana, again please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you. For the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. Please repeat. O Janardana, again please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you. For the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A similar statement was made to Suta Goswami by the Rishis of Naimisharanya, aided by Saunaka. That statement is Vayam Tuna Vitrapyama Uttama Sloka Vikrame Yasranvatam Rasagnanam Swadu Swadu Pade Pade. Important verse. One can never be satiated even though one continuously hear the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, who is glorified by excellent prayers. Those who have entered into a transcendental relationship with Krishna relish at every step the descriptions of the pastimes of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavad 1.119, above verse. Thus, Arjuna is interested in hearing about Krishna, and specifically how he remains as the all-pervading Supreme Lord. Now, as far as Amrutam, nectar is concerned, any narration or statement concerning Krishna is just like a nectar, and this nectar can be perceived by practical experience. Modern stories, fictions, histories are different from the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, in that one will tired of hearing mundane stories, but one never tires of hearing about Krishna. It is for this reason only that the history of the whole universe is replete with references to the pastimes of the incarnation of Godhead. The Puranas are histories of bygone ages that relate the pastimes of various incarnations of the Lord. In this way, the reading matter remains forever fresh despite repeated readings. So let us all try to understand. Om Jnanati Brandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Meritam Mena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate gim yatkrupattamaham vande Sri Gurum Dentar Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Iswaram Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhayeva Paddanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadavahim Dadati Swapadantikam Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakti ki jai. Thank you all for joining. So, we're reading, we'll try to cover the context, this chapter sections, how it is laid out, and why this chapter, what is the connection between chapter 9 and chapter 10. So, what is being laid out by Lord Krishna to Arjuna in the why he's saying this chapter is even more confidential. What does that mean in the context from 9th chapter, 10th chapter? And then we'll see some of the Chatusloki importance. And then we'll come to this verse, the importance, important points or instructions from this verse, specifically 2 or 3 are there. We'll try to cover. Hopefully, we'll have enough time. By your blessings, we'll be able to get some inspiration from Srila Prabhupada and previous acharyas. First, from 9th chapter, so 1 to 3 is the hearing about Lord Krishna. And 4 to 10 is the inconceivable powers of the Supreme Lord. 11 to 19 is worshippers and non-worshippers. And 20 to 28 is glories of devotion service to Krishna. And 29 to 31 is favoritism to his devotees. And 32 to 34 is how all devotees can be purified. This is from 9th chapter. Now coming to 10th chapter, 1 to 7 is Lord Krishna is the source of everything. That is the first section. The second section is 8 to 11, Chatusloki. And then the next third section, which we are reading today, is 12 to 18. Or sometimes it can be said as 12 to 15 itself. Arjuna's glorification of the Supreme Lord's position. That is the title. And then the next one is 16 to 18. Or you can say 19. Yeah. Arjuna's questions, requesting for sharing more details about his opulences. And then the 19 to 42, huge section, the last one, is Lord Krishna's opulences. So in this way, these 2 chapters are laid out. Now, so why did Lord Krishna here? Arjuna is not speaking. When did last time Arjuna is asking the question? Arjuna is asking the question all the way in the 7th chapter ending. That also when before that was the 6th chapter, almost till now, till this 10.15, 16, 17, 18 is asking, this is the 9th question. So 8 questions were asked. 7th question was in the 6th chapter where Arjuna was asking Lord Krishna about, you are telling about all this Ashtanga Yoga process, but it is very difficult to control this mind. Chanchalam himana balati pramati balavadrudam vayoreva suduskram, control, just like controlling the air, just not possible. Then Lord Krishna instructing that one must practice that abhyase kaunte vairagyena dushyate. One must practice this process of devotion service, then gradually you will be able to become detached. Then you will be able to attain. Then, but finally, Lord Krishna, then for second question, he again asked further 2 verses immediately. What happens? Because he thought maybe I may become, or somebody may become unsuccessful transcendentalist. What will happen to them? They will be lost like a raven cloud. No, then Lord Krishna, that's how, then immediately, no, at last they will attain me. And then finally concludes, but out of all this, the topmost process is yoginam abhisarvesham madgate antaratmana sabdavan bhajte yuktatomo mata. This is the 6th chapter ending. Then the actual bhakti yoga process is beginning, middle 6 chapters. So what lesson we learn from the first 6 chapters, why it is important, even though for us middle 6 chapters is the main essence, but there is importance for the first 6 chapters also. In the context that Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is laying out, that if you want Vraja Bhakti, if you want Krishna Prema, then we must become free from desire. Where it is starting, that's from second chapter onwards, Krishna is laying out again and again, Naishkarmya, Nishkama Karma Yoga. Again and again, if you see that pattern. Again, because he's stressing that point, all right, you're doing karma, that's all right. That is level 1. But if you want Braja Bhakti, then you actually come to this platform. That is Naishkarmya, free from desire. So that's why Krishna is stressing. And then now he has to begin Bhakti Yoga. Then the fundamental point is bringing now. Yoginam of Sarvesham Madgatenam. Okay. You are saying Madgatenam. Then how I'm going to think? What should I do? How I can remember you all the time? What is the process? Okay. So that's why without Arjuna is asking, 7th chapter, Lord Krishna begins Bhagavad Gita, talking about knowledge of the absolute. And then the 8th chapter, 7th chapter, whole chapter, Lord Arjuna is not asking any question further. And then the 7th chapter ending, then Krishna ends with some technical terms, Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, Adi Yajna. In this way, it goes on, almost 4 or 5 terms. Then Arjuna was bewildered. What exactly these terms? Please explain. The attaining the Supreme in the 8th chapter begins to answer those questions. But Lord Krishna doesn't end there. So you will go much more detail how to attain the Supreme, how to remember at the last time when we are leaving this body, how to remember him, the practice. Again, is stressing the same point which he mentioned in the 6th chapter. Same thing, abhyasa. Again, practice is must. Remembering me, practice, work at the same time. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara mayyarpita manobuddhi mam asamsaya. Think of me, and at the same time work also. Do both the things is bringing. Now the 9th chapter, so the 6th and the 2nd and 3rd chapter is confidential. Then the 7th and 8th chapters are more confidential. 9th chapter is the most confidential because the characteristic of the soul to be engaged in the service. That is the 9th. That is why it is most confidential, because you will not find any chapter where Lord Krishna is stressing actual service to the Lord in terms of the chanting of the holy name, Satatam Kirtayanto, in terms of Yogaksham Vahamyam Ananya Chantayanto, in terms of the simplicity of bhakti, only by devotion, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam, in terms of even for the pure devotee, even if he commits some mistake because of the previous habits, he should be ignored, he should be overlooked. The example is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. We see the son of Prutu Maharaj, Vijitasva, is been called as Antardhana, given title given by Indra. Because Vijitasva could see Indra is appearing, disappearing, he is stealing the horse of 100 sacrifices Prutu Maharaj is conducting. Then he keeps stealing it. Then he is hiding and going, because Indra has that capacity, mystic power, as in this verse is talking about the mystic powers, opulences. Then Vijitasva could see him appearing, disappearing. He could catch, he could fight with him. He is very, very strong, as good as his father, Prutu Maharaj. He's not an ordinary soul. Vijitasva, that's his name is been like that. And then, but he understood his offense, he understood the problem of Indra, but still he didn't say anything, neither he caught him. So both the things, so because this is the quality of a Vaishnava. Understanding this apichet sudura achara bhajite ma mananyabhav sadhureva samanta samyak 9.32, I think. So this verse is exactly one of the example is that where Prabhupada is quoting this in Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 4, chapter I think 24 or 22. So this is in the song sung by Lord Shiva, Rudra Gita. In that chapter beginning, you will see Vijitasva has been called Antardhana because of this aspect. Then Indra is very much happy. There Prabhupada is quoting this verse of Bhagavad Gita and telling, for this reason, the Vaishnava overlook the faults of a exalted Vaishnava, the pure devotees. And Indra is a great demigod, is a great associate and servant, being given the in charge position by Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So that's why he tolerated it, he overlooked the fault of Indra. Vijitasva didn't say anything. So that's why we can see, that's why he's been called Antardhana. He could see the person appearing, disappearing. Otherwise, nobody else could see Indra's, what he's doing, but he could see. So later on also, because of Vasishtha Muni's curse, this fire god also appears as their sons. That means you can understand Vijitasva's position, not an extraordinary devotee. So Pavaka, Pavamana, Suchi, these 3 persons, the Agni, they were being cursed and they appear as his sons. And then the demigods come back to this world. Those who are performing this mystic yoga opulences, they come down to the earthly planet and they regain, then they went back again to the same positions. This is about the 9.30. Now coming back to the connection between the 9th chapter and 10th chapter, why Lord Krishna has to speak, why he is beginning without even Arjuna asking anything. Because the 9th chapter ending, what is the fundamental and the most significant point? And it has many levels of understanding. Manmanava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mame vaisiyuktaivam atmanam matpranam. Same verse repeats in the 18th chapter also. 70 something. I don't remember the exact verse now. The simple meaning Prabhupada gives is the just 4 things you do, then you will be able to remember me, you will come to me. Think of me, offer obeisances, worship me, become my devotee. These 4 things. But what exactly it signifies is, Baba, you did so many lifetimes, serve this person, that person. Just give up your false ego. Come to the real ego. I am the servant of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, nobody else. Don't try to please this person, that person. You have done this enough lifetimes. Just give this lifetime to Krishna. Krishna is the only shelter. Krishna is the only master. I am his servant. He is my master. I am his servant. Nobody else. And my duty is to please Krishna and Guru. That's it. Period. Then everything else will be all right. This is the first and foremost. Once you give up this nice karma business, this is the first and foremost point, fundamental point to come to the spiritual perfection. Then only you can enter into Vrajabhakti. This is the first entry point itself. This is where it starts. So that's why this is the most confidential knowledge. 9.34 is very, very significant point. And then it can go beyond. For this verse can go to all the way to gopis. Because they have completely, Lord Krishna is their master, nothing else. They're 24/7, they are always in the service. No sleep, nothing. They're completely engaged. Because more we are engaged in this point of service, and this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing to Sanatana Goswami on this point. Why we are here in this material world, why we are with the false ego. Then very, very important instruction is beginning. Because Maya has been caught us on the neck, and then we are not able to come out of it. So, 1 minute. I'll try to remember that. Yeah, the verse is from, Krishna Nitya Das, Jiva Tata Buli Gela, Ei Dosha Maya Tara Galaya Bandila. The living entity is bound around the neck by the chain of Maya because he has forgotten that he is eternally a servant of Krishna. No fundamental point comes. Now, how will you come out? We just said, I am the servant of Krishna and he is my master only. Now, if somebody says, I am servant of certain person, what is the next thing we need to do? We have to serve that person. That means service. When we say bhakti, when we say devotion, there itself includes service. And that is the point Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing, very, very important point. Tate Krishna bhaje kare guru ra sevana maya jala chute paye Krishnera charana. If the conditioned soul engages in the service of the Lord and simultaneously carries out the orders of his spiritual master and serve him, he can get out the clutches of Maya and become eligible for shelter at Krishna's lotus feet. Otherwise, there is no question. I'll repeat that again. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Very, very significant. If the conditioned soul engages in the service of the Lord, we have to remember this our whole life, and simultaneously carries out the orders of spiritual master, because they are not different. Lord is coming as Chaitya Guru inside the heart, as Paramatma coming out as Guru. So Guru doesn't deviate from Krishna, and Guru is the one who is giving the service. Through him only we are getting any service. We are doing something. So that's why both simultaneously carries out the orders of spiritual master and serves him. He can get out the clutches of Maya and become eligible for shelter at Krishna's lotus feet. So that's why the 9.34 is very significant. And then the 10th chapter begins. Then Lord Krishna is explaining further, where Lord Krishna is saying, Yatteham Priyamanaya. So you are my dearmost. That's why I am speaking to you. Why so? Because just like if you, Prabhupada gives example, so father or mother, especially mother, will speak about his child. that I have done this, my son has done this, my daughter has done this, nice dancing, or she got, within, 18 years, he became a big entrepreneur and got a nice job and a lot of millions of dollars he earned, whatever, great things about it. And then who will like to hear? Nobody likes to hear, because that's who cares about your son and daughter. It's nothing to me. So yes, for you it is great, but for me it is nothing, because the envious, jealousy, all those characteristics are there. So that's why, that's why Krishna is making that point. Because you are my dear devotee, that's why I am speaking to you. And that's why further I am speaking to you about this opulences of the absolute. Further, more confidential. That more confidential, because the one who is a friend, very close friend, you will keep on revealing your confidential secrets, whether it's depending on what profession, what we do, whether it's a business, then accordingly you share those details, how you can go more and more. Like even among devotees, devotee circle, those who are at that level, they will be discussing and sharing. That will come to this point. This was especially very signifying that point, especially sharing, how we can constantly sharing, discussing and sharing the confidential secrets, how we can progress, what to correct, how we are doing in our service, devotional service, where we are lacking, how we can go forward, sharing, because that is what confidentially Rupa Goswami is giving, that Dadati Pratigurnadi Kisamakyati Pritchat. So that's what here the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna is speaking to Arjuna and all of us, saying that we must, you are the dearmost. If you want to understand these details, only person who can understand is if he becomes a lover of Krishna, if he becomes, thinks that Krishna is the master, not anybody else. Krishna is the only master, I am the servant, nothing else. That comes the priority, highest priority. Then he can understand. Otherwise, he will never understand this more confidential. Further, that's why Krishna is speaking, even though Arjuna is not asking. Now, so here in the 10th chapter, we can see the details being given. That is the connection from 9th to 10th chapter. The opulence of the further in detail. Now, in the Chatusloka is also important point, so we'll try to cover that quickly. In the eighth verse, where it is mentioned about Aham Sarvasya Prabhu, where basically Lord Krishna is speaking about material and spiritual. Everything is coming from him. And then by me alone, from Supreme Lord Shri Krishna only it is coming. And then it is connected with the faith, by the knowledge. Iti Matva means. And then Bhava means, yeah, this is where it makes that 9.34 connection. Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. It increases and increases. This Dasya Bhava, unless this is the servant, is the first and foremost, as I mentioned. Again, this Dasya, who is the topmost servant? Srimati Radharani, Gopis. So that's why this Dasya Bhav is there, even though Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, the relationship, the rasa terms are changing, but actually Dasya Bhav is there in each and every rasa from all the way, especially Shanta is more neutral, not actively participating, but they have a more neutral nature. But all the way after Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, it is the tip, it goes all the way at the top level. That especially Srimati Radharani is the topmost in serving, always thinking how to serve Krishna. Even those who are seemingly jealous, seemingly envious, seemingly in that rasa, but Srimati Radharani is ready to serve those where Krishna is there. But she is ready to go to anybody and serve. If somebody is pleasing more than her, then she is ready to go and also serve there. So that is her always thinking how to serve 24/7. So that is the topmost. That's why this Manmanabha Madbhakta verse goes all the way there. So that Chatusloki, the first understanding, we understand everything from Krishna, but more important is Bhava. For devotees, this is Bhava is important. That means how I can improve my service to my master. So dependent on him, completely, utterly dependent on him, and engage in menial service to Guru and Krishna and devotees, obviously. And then the 9th verse is talking about the Ananya Bhakti. Now you talk about name, form, and qualities and pastimes, and the taste of the sweetness, Matchitta, and then Madgata Prana. Unable to maintain, devotees are unable to maintain themselves without the Supreme Lord discussing about him. So that's why spiritual, basically it is talking about spiritual bliss is beyond the three modes. So Matchitta, So Matchita again means Sravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. That's why did Lord Krishna why is Lord Krishna speaking here about these verses? Because why did Lord Krishna appear? Kunti Maharani gives this very nice verse, and Prabhupada also very significant point is making. So, Lord Krishna is appearing. Srunvanti gayanti grunanti abhikshanasa smaranti nandanti tave hitam jana tayeva pasyanti achirena tavatam bhava prabaha uparamam padambujam. Oh Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Now, significant point Prabhupada is making in the purport. Sometimes it is people in general, in Bhagavad Gita is one of the popular literatures which are generally heard, chanted, repeated by the people in general. But in spite of such hearing, sometimes it is experienced that the performer of such devotional service does not see the Lord face to face. The reason is that, first item, very important, Sravana is very important. If hearing is from the right sources, it acts very quickly. Generally, people hear from unauthorized persons. Such unauthorized person may be very learned by academic qualification, but because they do not follow the principles of devotional service, hearing from them becomes a sheer waste of time. Sometimes the texts are interpreted fashionably to suit their own purposes. Therefore, first one should select a competent and bona fide speaker and then hear from him. When the hearing process is perfect and complete, the other processes become automatically perfect in their own way. This is very, very significant point. So that's why the second Chatusloka is signifying this Sravanam, Kirtanam and Smaranam. If you are very good Sravanam and Kirtanam, then Smarana automatically will happen throughout the day. That is our bar. How much we are progressing, how much we are remembering Krishna and Guru, that signifies where we are in. So then the 10th verse is signifying further. Now, somebody may ask a question that you are saying, hear about me, think of me, by what process, by what method we can do this. So then that's why Krishna speaks, Tesham Satadiktanam Bhajitam Priti Purukam, Buddhi Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. So the Ananya Bhakti is talking about those who are constantly desirous of me, with me, Satatam Yuktanam, always realization is given only by me. Then they come near me. That Krishna is going. Further, then somebody may have doubt. Oh, what happens if I am not even educated? I am very illiterate. What happens to me? Then Lord Krishna further, I myself make endeavor to give that person supreme mercy, being situated in their intellect. Atma Bhavastha means intellect. A lamp of knowledge arising from bhakti beyond gunas. That is a important point there. So 11th verse. And then the benefits of the 10th chapter. At least two important things. What is the benefit is removing sinful activities by simply understanding the Krishna, Lord Krishna's pastimes and glories and following his instruction. It removes all the sinful activities. And what is the root cause of sin? Is ignorance, avidya. That will be removed. Then it increases the complete spiritual bliss. That's what it will give. And further, Baladev Vidyabhushan talks about this 11th verse. How is it possible that he can illuminate their hearts? For those who can't maintain themselves without me, unalloyed devotees, Tesham Eva, Anukampa, by my mercy, I situated with attachment for these souls, Atma Bhavastha, like a bee in lotus flower. We'll come to this point. This 18th verse is talking about the bee. We'll come to that. Reveal in their Atmas my darsha, my forms and qualities, and I destroy darkness in the form of their desires for objects other than myself, so that I elevate their intelligence and I destroy their ignorance. I bear responsibility for all this. This is further signifying from 9.22. Same thing is being given here also. Krishna is stressing that point, that how he will take away anything which we don't need, and then he will give whatever we need for coming close to Krishna. Ananyasam. That same aspect is mentioning also 10.11, indirectly indicating that aspect. Now, coming to this verse number 16 onwards, where Arjuna is asking, it is difficult to understand the truth about you. Therefore, I want to know about your vibhutis. So that's why here it is mentioned, Vistarena Atmano Yogam, Atma Yogam, Vibhutim cha Janardana. What does Janardana means? We'll come to that. Vistarena means very detailedly. Please explain. And then hearing, I want to hear more and more. That's also Arjuna is speaking. Your vibhutis are very attractive, divya. So speak after them fully. And Krishna, it is impossible to speak them fully. Then Arjuna is saying, okay, speak about the Kechu Bhaveshu. Okay, you are saying great detail, but then you told me, think about you, Manmanabha, but how I am going to think? Can you tell me specifically, Keshu Bhaveshu? Where exactly, and by what, seeing what I can think of you. So that's when Krishna has to speak about it very clearly, explicitly. So Arjuna is asking that, speaking about those where you are spreading in this world, specifically that point. Arjuna is mentioned, that's why Krishna is mentioning those details. And the 17th verse, how can I know you and think of you at all times? That is Bhaveshu. Of course, you will say that Bhaktyamam Abhijanati. But in what objects? Bhaveshu. How can I perform bhakti? By thinking of you in various objects. Now, coming back to this verse, 18th verse. Oh Janardana, please tell me again in detail about your vibhutis and your bhakti yoga. Hearing your nectar, I have no satisfaction. So now, what does Janardana means? People such as me, Arjuna is saying this, Jana means people such as me. By sweetness of your beneficial instructions, you create longing, you make us agitated. Ardhana. Jana means people such as me, and Ardhana means you create longing, you make us agitated, you make us beg. What can we do? For me, hearing the nectar in the form of your instructions is the most dear. In another page, Janardana also means one who is the object of entreating for those desiring their ultimate benefit. So, in this way, we can see how Lord Krishna is now. Let's understand here, Lord Krishna is making the point of that Amruta, nectar. As per Arjuna is making that point, that hearing. So how we can make our life day-to-day basis nectar. Just like what does bee do? Earlier, that point of bee has come. What does bee do? The bee takes honey, going to each and every lotus flower and picks up that honey and goes to beehive and stores that honey. That is the job of the bee. Taking only the honey, nothing else. Anything else is there, it will not touch. So same way, the devotee means we don't need to externally endeavor, trying for, I want to be humble, I want to develop this quality, that quality. We don't need to externally try. We want to serve. We want to serve the Supreme Lord, serve the Guru, serve the devotees. And then automatically all these qualities will naturally develop. And we have to pick up the positive qualities wherever in from our services, from our devotee interaction, from our Supreme Lord, from our Guru. So from everywhere we have to pick up the positive aspects day after day, week after week. This is only, everything else we should reject. Anything which is not positive, which is not giving us inclination and inspiration to go forward in serving Guru and Krishna, those you reject, you throw it out there itself. Don't even inject into the mind. Other day I saw a message, nice message, but it's more towards material, but the same thing can be applied. There it's mentioned that life is too short. Buy this bag today. Life is too short. Buy this bag. And then further it says, love what you do and do it more. Do it lots of it. Do it today and do it lots of it. That's what it matters. It is about some bag shop. Now apply the same principle. We should apply the same principle to in our devotion service. Why we should be tired of activities? In material activity, we are not tired. Going to work, we are not tired. Doing serving to our, take care of all other things, we are not tired. But when it comes to service, why we are tired? That means something is lacking. Something is happening. That means we don't have the sincere desire. So that for a sincere desire to happen, then we must hear this attentively. and then approach devotees and seek their blessings and offer prayers. So then gradually the desire will come, but we should explicitly try to follow this process, what Lord Krishna is speaking. So collect that bee of these positive qualities from the devotees, from the Supreme Lord, from Guru, and keep on collecting day after day. Then store it. In general, bee what will do, if somebody comes to the beehive and takes out the honey, then it will come and bite you. That's what happened. I just hearing 50 years of Radha Madhav jubilation. My Guru Maharaj was mentioning. Prabhupada was there. Prabhupada said, don't keep these beehives here. Take it, put it somewhere. Kamaduk, there was a cow. Then it came there and giving the milk and everything. Then the same tree where the beehive was there, then it basically touched that beehive, and then all the bees started attacking, and it was a big difficulty. And Prabhupada said, no, don't keep the beehive here. Keep it somewhere else. Then same way, so, but that is what bees does. But what we have to do as devotee, we should collect and then we should distribute it. We have to keep sharing, keep distributing it. Whether it's prasad or kirtan, whatever. So books, you name it, share whatever we know. We don't need to become experts. Whatever we know, little, just as an instrument in the hand of Guru and devotees and the Supreme Lord. That's it. We just need to do that job. Then naturally that keep that honey, the more and more it becomes, our heart becomes sweet. It becomes like honey. Then that's when we can see Krishna. That's when actually Lord Krishna will start revealing the actual secrets. Then we'll be able to see him. Like Dhruva Maharaj, it took only 6 months, that's why. Because he's only keep on taking the honey. And then 3 things are very, very important there. Engaging in the service, engaging in the worship, using the mind, body, words. Narada Muni engaged. Okay. You are going and meditating, you are engaging mind, but then you are also engaging in the physical things. You have to go and pluck the flowers and engaging in use your body, because body we are not able to give up. We have this body. Then we have to make this body, because the body has the desires. This gross body, the senses has desires. You cannot become desireless. So spiritual desire we have to develop, but we don't have the desire to serve Krishna. Then that's why this body must be used. The ear must be used, the tongue must be used to only take Krishna Prasad, ear must be used to hear, and then these both, and then our rest of the body must be used in the service of Vaishnavas, Guru, and the Supreme Lord. By these 3 things, then automatically even if we don't have desire in the beginning, gradually we'll develop the desire to serve Krishna and Guru, and slowly and we'll come to that point that he is the only master, nobody else. I have given enough lifetimes. I have done enough marriages. Sometimes we are wife, husband, this, that, so many things. This lifetime, just period, give it to Krishna. He will take care. Once somebody surrenders to Krishna, Krishna will take care. Without a doubt, 100% guaranteed. Again and again is being given by Srila Prabhupada. Everywhere Prabhupada is speaking about this. Just simply take shelter of Krishna. So that's why this verse is so important. Become like a bee and keep on distributing. Don't become like a bee and store it. Keep storing and kick people out. When somebody is coming to take it or receive knowledge, no, please give it freely. Then you have to come like a, in the mission of Srila Prabhupada, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They all want to distribute mercy. So we have to become an instrument in the hand of our Guru Varga, disciples of Srila Prabhupada. So much they are engaged in. So that's why this verse is very, very significant. The important instructions is giving. Now I want to read, because it's mentioned here, the opulences. What are the opulences? Especially Mahaprabhu's. What is Mahaprabhu is giving? Throw everything out. What do we need to do? Dante nudayatnakam padayo nipatya krutva chakakusatam etat aham ravi he sadava sakalam eva vihaya durat Chaitanya Chandra Charane Purutanuragam. Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada, Chaitanya Chandramurti, holding a straw between my teeth, I fall at your feet, O Sadhu. With hundreds of supplications, I say, dear sir, throw away everything and devote yourself to the feet of Sri Chaitanya Chandra. Sri Chaitanya Chandra. So this is very, very important. Now let's see what Chaitanya Chandra is doing. Chaitanya Chandra, what kind of jewels, what kind of mercy is giving for a very teeny work. Gauranga gives jewels for buttermilk. In a joyful mood of Lord Chaitanya moved quickly toward Nilachal. In ecstatic love, he exclaimed, Hey Jagannath, Absorbed in Krishna Prema, Gauranga moved with the determination of a lion. He was moving so fast that his associate couldn't keep up. Lord came to a small village in the forest and met a cowherd boy who was carrying a pot full of buttermilk to sell in the market. Gauranga said, "Oh dear cowherd boy, I'm thirsty. Can you give me some buttermilk?" Falling down at the Lord's feet, the boy said, "Please take this buttermilk and drink as much as you want." Lord Chaitanya drank the whole pot of buttermilk. Then that so-called sannyasi walked away while saying, "You stay here and collect the money from my colleagues who are following me." The Lord moved on quickly and boy sat down, thinking to himself. After some time, the Lord's followers arrived there and inquired of that boy, "Did you see a sannyasi?" The cowherd boy said, "Yes, he drank all my buttermilk. He said that you would pay for it. If you have any money, then please pay me so I can go home." Surprised, Gauranga's associate looked at each other and said, "Where will we get money? We don't have any money with us." The cowherd boy said, "That's all right. You just forget it. Just tell that sannyasi that this was my humble offering to his lotus feet." Then the boy tried to lift his empty milk pot and go home. For some reason, he couldn't budge the pot. Removing the lid, he saw that it was full of precious jewels and gold. The cowherd boy ran down in the direction of Lord Chaitanya. He found the Lord waiting for his associate a short distance away. Gauranga smiled and benevolently upon the boy. When Lord Chaitanya's associates arrived, they were happy to see that the cowherd boy had attained the lotus feet of the Lord. Gauranga said, "Hey, cowherd boy, go back home. You obtained a boon, and Krishna gave you his mercy." While walking home, the boy became invested with love of God. He danced and chanted madly in the ecstasy of Krishna Prema. All the villagers became overjoyed to see that the cowherd boy had received the mercy of the Lord. Lochandas happily sings the glories of Gauranga. You can see how much mercy, not only to this small cowherd boy, is also giving the mercy to even a dog, to even a puppy. There's a pastime, but we don't have much time. We'll also see from Krishna book, also Prabhupada makes that point. So in the to the devotee, very simple devotee. So when Krishna entered into Mudra, so where is doing this? And thus very nicely attired, Krishna and Balaram look like elephant dressed with colored clothing on the full moon day at the dark moon. And Krishna was very much pleased with the tailor and gave him benedictions of Sarupya Mukti, which means that after leaving his body, he would be liberated and would attain a four-handed body exactly like that of Narayana in the Vaikuntha plan. Krishna also granted him that as long as he would live, he would earn sufficient opulence, is able to enjoy sense gratification. By this incident, Krishna proved that those who are Krishna conscious devotees will not be lacking material enjoyment of sense gratification. They will have sufficient opportunity for such things. But after leaving the body, they will be allowed to enter the spiritual planets of Vaikuntha Loka or Krishna Loka, Golok Vrindavana. After dressing nicely, Krishna Balaram went to see a florist named Sudama. As soon as they reached the precinct of the house, the florist immediately came out with great devotion, fell down on his face to offer his respectful obeisances. This is the example, what we discussed. He offered a nice key to Krishna and Balaram, how to serve. He is showing by the example. And asked his assistant to bring out flowers, betel nuts, and pulp of chandan. We must ask our Guru Varga, we must consult our Prabhupada's books and see what exactly I have to serve. And we'll also, please forgive me for going over time. There is another pastime, very, very important pastime. Now we heard about the hearing and service, but there is a instruction from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jagannath's pastime. We all know, but that instruction we may not remember. It's a very important instruction. Please be patient with me today. So we'll come to that in a minute. Let me finish this. The florist welcome greatly satisfied the Lord. The florist very humbly and submissively offered his prayers to the Lord, saying, "My dear Lord, because you have come to my place, I think all my forefathers and all my worshipful superiors pleased and delivered. My dear Lord, you are the supreme cause of all causes of cosmic manifestation. But for the benefit of the residents of this earthly planet, you have appeared with your plenary portion to give protection to your devotees. Annihilate the demons. You are equally disposed as a friend of all living entities. You see the super soul. You do not discriminate between friend and enemy. Yet, you are pleased to give your devotees special result of their devotional activity. My Lord, I am praying that you please tell me whatever you wish me to do. because I am your eternal servant. This is a significant point. We have constantly we have to see. Not I'm not going to please. Okay, I will please this person, that person, this person. No, what Guru will be pleased. We have to constantly seek that. What Krishna will be pleased by prayers, by asking them physically, asking for instruction. How I can please? What should I do? How should I do? And this goes on all the way. So from Chaitanya Sikshastakam we see Ananda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam pado Krupaya Tavapada Pankaja Sitaduri Sadrusam Vichintaya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching this lesson of become servant. Master is only Krishna, become servant. And we see the same thing from Madhavendra Puri and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That Aidina Dayardanada Katavalokase Madhura Nada Kim Karote Ham Brahmayati. My heart is beating in the place. Please, what should I do now? I am your servant. Kim Karam. So this is the mood of all the acharyas, all the way to the gopis. That's why here we can significant point florist is making. The florist Sudama was greatly pleased within his heart by seeing Krishna and Balram in his place. And thus, a choicest desire, he made two exquisite garlands of various flowers and presented them to the Lord. Krishna and Balram were very much pleased with his sincere service, and Krishna offered the florist his salutation and benediction, which is always prepared to bestow upon the surrendered souls. When the florist was offered benediction, he begged from the Lord that he might remain his eternal servant in the devotion. This is what we have to constantly seek. Become eternal servant. That's all. Nothing else. No other position. We don't know. Nadanam, najanam, na sundarim, na kavitam va jagadish kamaye. Mama janmani janman iswar bhavatat bhakti rahayituki. While we are chanting, nothing else. But this keeps on coming. Maya is telling her, no, just today do this thing. Tomorrow you can become a Krishna servant. But gradually we have to come to this, because that is the entrance. Otherwise there is no Vraj Prem. There is no Krishna Prem. If we are not going to start thinking in this direction and endeavor to come to this path, then it just becomes, we'll never become free from our material desires. We'll go on, continue on this way only. So that two double role, double-minded. This will go on. We cannot become, because hardly in Kali Yuga what we can do is double-minded. We can never focus. So that's why we have to think very seriously about it. And when the florist was offered benedictions, he begged from the Lord that he might remain his eternal and devotion served by such service, do good to all living creatures. By this, it is clear that a devotee of the Lord in Krishna consciousness should not be satisfied simply by his own advancement in devotion service. He must be willing to work for the welfare of all others. This example was followed by 6 Goswamis of Vrindavana. It is therefore stated in prayer that Lokanam Hitakarina. So, the example now, so this is very, very important instruction from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ajanulambita Bhujo, Kanakavadato, Sankirtanaika Petro, Kamalaya Taksho, Vissambaro, Dijaro, Yogadharma Palo, Vande Jagat Priyakaro, Karunavataro. Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesh Tanay Sri Vandavanya Kajit Upasana Brajabadu Varkya Srimad Bhagavatam Pramana Mamalam Prema Pramartho Maha Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matamidam Tatra Adharana Praha Madhyalila chapter 12. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking. Krsna'as Kaviraj Goswami, great exalted Acharya, is speaking. Are dine Jagannathera Netrotsava Nama Mahotsava Haila Bhaktera Prana Samman. The next day marked the performance of festival of Netrotsava. The great festival was the life and soul of the devotee. My dear devotees, let us plan ahead. In July it is going to happen. Let us plan now. After hearing this, let us plan ahead so seriously that we at least we do some portion of what is being instructed here. We have 3 months to meditate upon. Think about it, plan it, endeavor it. After bathing ceremony of Lord Jagannath during the fortnight before Radhayatra ceremony, the body of Lord Jagannath having been washed needs repainting. This is known as Angaraga. Netrotsa festival performed gorgeously in the early morning of Navayavana day constitute the life and soul of devotees. Paksha dina dukhi loka prabhura adarshane darshana kariya loka sukha paila mane. Everyone was unhappy for a fortnight because they could not see the deity of Lord Jagannath. Upon seeing the Lord at the festival, the devotees were very happy. Mahaprabhu Sukha Lana Sabha Bhakta Gana Jagannath Darshana Karila Agamana. On this occasion, greatly happy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took all the devotees with him and visited the Lord in the temple. आगे काशीश्वर यया लोका निवारिया पाछे गोविंद यया jala karangalana. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the visit the temple, Kashishwara walked in the front and checking the crowds of people, and Govinda walked in the rear, bringing the sannyasi's pitcher filled with water. This is both are the exalted servants of Sri Ishwar Puri. So because of his Guru's mercy, they are able to get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, direct service to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. प्रभुर आगे पूरी पूरी भारती दुनारा गमना स्वरूपा अद्वैता दुनेरे पार्श्वे दुविजना. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went towards the temple, Paramananda Puri and Brahmananda Bharati walked in front of him, and at his two sides walked Sarup Damodar and Advaita Acharya. पाचे पाचे चली yana आरा भक्त गना उत्कंठता गेला सभा जगन्नाथ bhavana. With great eagerness, all other devotees followed them into the temple of Lord Jagannath. Now the important aspect comes. दर्शन लोभेते करी मर्यादा लंघना भोग मंडपे याना करे श्री मुखा दर्शना. Out of great eagerness to see the Lord, they all neglected the regulative principles and just to see the Lord's face went to the place where the food was offered. There are many regulative principles of deity worship. For example, one is not allowed to enter the room where the food is offered to Lord Jagannath. But in this case, being very eager because of not having seen the Lord for 15 days, all the people overruled the regulative principles and entered the room. That doesn't mean we will go back into the backside room of kitchen and start seeing what is being offered. But don't do that, please. But at least from outside, even people are rushing to see the Lord at the time. That's fine. Don't say anything. Please be positive. Please allow them to see however they want to see. Jump on somebody or whatever they want to see. How in Jagannath Puri we see those pastimes. So be positive on all those. Don't think bad about devotees, those who are doing like that. So they are just eager. Tristastra Prabhura Netra Brahmara Yugala Gada Krsna'as piye Krishnera Vadana Kamala. Very important point. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very thirsty to see the Lord, and his eyes became like two bumblebees drinking the honey from the lotus-like eyes of Lord Jagannath, who is Krishna himself. Again, I'll repeat this word. Trisha Artha Prabhura Netra Brahmara Yugala Gada Krsna'as piye Krishnera Vadana Kamala. That's how. But so our minds are externally with so many filled up with so many things. That's why more and more we see how much time they are engaged in seeing hours and hours, not few minutes. That is a significant point. Prafulla Kamala Jini Nayana Yugala Nila Mani Darpana Kanti Gouda Jalamala. The eyes of Lord Jagannath conquered the beauty of blossoming lotus flowers, and his neck was as lustrous as a mirror made of sapphires. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu usually saw Lord Jagannath from a distance, standing behind the column of Garuda. But because he had not seen Lord Jagannath for 15 days, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt great separation. This is signifying that Yugaitam Nimeshena Chakshusha Pravrusaitam Sunyaitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahename. Govinda Virahename. Aslishava Padratam Tenastu Mam Marmahatam Krodva Yata Tatava Tulam Pato Mat Prananaadastu Sayevanapraha. Mat Prananaadastu Sayevanapraha. Mat Prananaadastu Sayevanapraha. That is what signifying here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Intense separation. In great eagerness, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu crossed the meeting hall and entered the room where the food was offered just to see the face of Lord Jagannath. In verse 210, this action is called Maryada Langana, violation of the regulative principle. This indicates that one should not come very near a superior. Both the Lord's deity form and the spiritual master should be seen from a distant place. This is called Maryada. Otherwise, as it is said, familiarity breeds contempt. Something coming too near the deity or the spiritual master degrades the neophyte devotee. Personal servants of the deity and the spiritual master should therefore always be very careful, for negligence may overcome them in their duty. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's eyes have been compared to thirsty bumblebees. Sri Jagannath's eyes have been compared to blossoming lotus flowers. The author has made this comparison in order to describe Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu while the Lord was deeply absorbed in ecstatic love for Lord Jagannath. Now, Bandulira Pula Jini Adara Suranga Hasita Kanti Amrita Taranga, the chin of the Lord, tinged with buff color, conquered the beauty of the Banduli flower. This increased the beauty of his mild smiling, which was like lustrous waves of nectar. This is Lord Jagannath's beauty, describing in few verses. Sri Mukha Sundara Kanti Bade Kshane Kshane Koti Bhakta Netra Brunga Kare Madhu Pane. The luster of his beautiful face increased at every moment. The eyes of the hundreds of thousands of devotees drank its honey like a bumblebees. This is what, when we're talking about the honey, as I was mentioning, this is what I'm talking about, significant point, but it has many levels. Yata piye tata Krishna bade nirantara mukambuja chari netra na yaya antara. As their eyes began to drink the nectarian honey of his lotus face, their thirst increased. Thus their eyes did not leave him. Then Prabhupada is quoting Rupa Goswami from Laghu Bhagavatamrita. Beauty of Ananda is incomparable. Nothing is higher than his beauty. Nothing can equal it. His beauty is like the waves in an ocean of nectar. This beauty is attractive both for the moving and non-moving objects. And the significant point is being made. Ei matta Mahaprabhu lana bhakta gana madhyahana paryanta kaila Sri Mukha darshana. How long they were seeing? Thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees enjoyed transcendental bliss upon seeing the face of Lord Jagannath. This continued to midday. When they went? They went early in the morning. Until when they are seeing? Till midday. They are there only in the temple. They are just simply seeing. And then when the boga is offering, what are they doing? Sveda kampa asru jala vahe sarva kshana darshanera lobe prabhu kare samvarana. As usual, there were transcendental blissful symptoms in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body. He perspired and trembled, and constant flow of tears fell from his eyes. But the Lord checked these tears too, so they would not disturb his seeing the face of the Lord. Madhya madhya boga lage madhya darshana bogera samaye prabhu karena kirtana. Their looking at the face of Lord Jagannath was interrupted only when he was offered food. Afterward, they would again look upon his face. When the food was being offered to the Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his kirtan. So this is, we understood the eagerness of hearing. We understood the eagerness of hearing. Lord Krishna is the only master, we are the servant. And then we understood here, darshan means not just come and go. It is not just simply just 1 minute. Here, the intense eagerness to see the Lord, you can see from morning till afternoon, they didn't even move, eating whatever. They left everything else. They're just simply seeing the beauty of the Lord Jagannath, Lord Baladev, Subhadra Maharani, Sudarshanji, simply concentrating on the form of the Lord. That's all. And then engaging in Sankirtan. When they are offering, obviously they will do chants and mantras and offering. So that time they are engaged in Sankirtan. In this way, you can see that important aspects, how we can get this Vistarena Atmano Yogam, Vibhutincha Janardana. What does Vibhuti? These are the opulences. The actual beauty of the Lord in terms of his vision, in terms of his whole bodily beauty, transcendental body, lotus face, lotus eyes, lotus hands, everything. And his qualities, the hearing aspect is also very significant. And his prasad, Mahaprasad, Lord Jagannath Prasad is topmost. And keep eating it without even brushing the teeth, also ready to jump and eat, except Ekadasi. You have to hold on to it till next day. But we should offer mental obeisance. If cannot offer, like Haridas Thakur has showed us how to offer Mahaprasad. That's why Srila Prabhupada was never talking to anybody while taking prasad. That's showing us how to take prasad, not to waste a single grain. So that's why it's very, very important points has been given here. And then with this verse I land. Yare tanre krupa sei jana bare pare krupa vina brahmadika jani bare nare. Only a person who has received the mercy of the Lord can understand. Without Lord's mercy, even the demigods headed by Lord Brahma cannot understand. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is making this point during the Sankirtan, chapter 13, Madhya Leela. So with that, I learned a lot more to say, but I have taken a long time, 8:10. Please forgive me for that. Krsna'as, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Bhagavatam ki jai, Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, all our Guru Varga, previous Acharyas ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakt Vrinda ki jai. Ananda Leelamaya Vigrahaya Hemav Divya Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste आजानुलंबित भुजो कनकावदातो संकीर्तनैकपितरो कमलायताक्षो विश्वम्भरो द्विजवरो युगधर्मपालो वंदे जगत्प्रियकरो करुणावतारो. Now let us hear the few more Nectarean pastimes of Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu, the most merciful. Gauranga used to pass his time playing and enjoying many frivolous games with his friends. One day they found a litter of puppies, small dogs. Nimai picked out the nicest one. Nimai's friend said, "Look, Nimai, you chose the best puppy and left the ugly one for us. It's not fair. If you keep that one, then we are going home." Viswambara said, "Come on, listen. I'll keep this puppy in my house and we can all play with him there." Nimai took the puppy home and tied it to his chair. Having just finished his duties, Sachimata had gone to bathe in the Ganga along with her friends. Viswambara's friends came into the house and played with the puppy dog. They fondled the dog, rolled in the dirt with it, laughed and joked. Suddenly a quarrel broke out among the boys. Nimai took the side of one boy and found fault with the other. Gaurahari said, "Listen, every day you come here to play and you always start a fight. Why do you behave like this?" In defense, the boy said, "Well, you stole the puppy." Then he stormed out of the house. Seeing Sachimata returning from Ganga, that boy said in a voice choked with anger, "Your son Viswambara is playing in the house with a puppy dog. Sometimes he put it on his lap or hang it over his shoulder. Go and see for yourself." Sachimata quickly entered the house and saw Viswambara playing with puppy. In astonishment, she hit her forehead with her palm. "Viswambara, what are you doing?" said Sachimata. "I simply can't understand your behavior. You have so many things to play with, but instead you play with a dog? You are the son of a very religious father. What will people say if they see you playing with a dog? This behavior does not befit a Brahmana's son. It pains my heart to imagine how people will criticize you if they find out. Your form is so pure and wonderful. Why do you find happiness in smearing your body with dirt? Seeing you like this, I bow my head in shame and wish to die. Your body shines like fresh lightning, and your face is more beautiful than many moons. Yet, instead of wearing your clothes, you cover your body with dirt and play with low-class boys?" Fuming with anger, Sachimata bit her lower lip and rebuked her errant son. "Oh, okay, Nimai. If you like that puppy so much, then take him to your room. Just forget about your mother and father and play with your dog." But the charming beauty of Gaura's gorgeous, innocent face quickly dissipated Sachimata's anger. Adopting a joyful mood, Sachidevi said, "Come on, my darling son, get on my lap. I want to hug you and kiss your sweet smiling face. Now, just leave that puppy alone for a little while and go bathe in the Ganga. Besides, you must be hungry. It's already lunchtime. Why are you filling me with anxiety? Now tie up your puppy, take bath, and after lunch you can play with him again. Your face looks tired like a golden lotus withered by a scorching sun. A drop of perspiration like a pearl rests on the tip of your nose." Smiling, Viswambara said, Mother, please watch my puppy while I take a bath." After cleansing the dirt from Nimai's body, Sachimata rubbed him with fragrant oil. Gaurahari and his friends went to bathe in Ganga. They laughed, swam about, and threw water on each other just like playful elephants do when bathing. Gauranga's golden body appeared powerfully built and is as immovable as Mount Sumeru. Meanwhile, back home, Sachimata untied Nimai's puppy and sent him away. One of Gauranga's playmates saw this and then ran to Ganga to inform Nimai. "Hey Nimai, your mother sent your puppy away." Nimai immediately ran home, not seeing his puppy. Nimai's heart burned in anger. Feeling separation, he cried and scolded his mother. "Listen, mother, you don't understand. Why did you do this to me?" All the kids say this. "I feel very hurt. You are such a nice, beautiful puppy. How could you send him away?" Playing innocent, Sachimata said, "I don't know what happened to your puppy. You are just here. Maybe a thief then has stolen him. Now stop crying. We'll search for a puppy and bring him back tomorrow. I promise I'll find your puppy. Now please stop crying." After saying this, Sachimata wiped the tears from Nimai's face, put him on her lap, smothered him with kisses. Then Sachimata pacified Nimai with kheera, sandesh, bananas, and other tasty sweets. Sachimata dressed her darling son. She tied his hair in a top knot and applied black kajal around his eyes. She wrapped a ruby red cloth around Nimai's nicely curved hips. She hung a pearl necklace around his neck. Sandalwood tilaka adorned his forehead. Gold bangles highlighted the beauty of his wrists and ankles. Grabbing a sweet ball, Nimai ran outside to play with his friends. His walking defeated the pride of the king of elephants. His deep voice sounded as sweet as nectar. Nimai, the crest jewel among his Brahmana friends, looked like the full moon surrounded by a cluster of stars. The demigod felt great happiness to witness Lord Gora's transcendental pastimes. Lochan Das is amazed to see that Supreme Lord touch the cats and dogs. That puppy dog attained the greatest fortune by the transcendental touch of Lord Gauranga. The dog gave up his bad habits and became Krishna conscious. One day the dog just started dancing ecstatically while chanting the holy names Radha, Krishna, Govinda. Hearing that a lowly dog was chanting Hare Krishna, the townspeople of Navadvip ran to see a miracle. Before everyone's eyes, the dog exhibited the bodily symptoms of ecstatic love of God. The dog was crying, his hair stood on end, and his entire body was covered with goosebumps. Suddenly, the most fortunate dog gave up his body. At that moment, a golden celestial chariot came down from sky and carried the dog to Golok Vrindavan. Topped with many domes, the chariot was lavishly decorated with pearls and dazzling jewels. The sounds of bells, gongs, conch shells, kartals accompanied the divine singing of Gandharvas and Kinnaras, who were singing the glories of Radha and Krishna. Flags flapped atop the chariot, whose brilliance outshone the light of the sun. In his spiritual body, the dog was sitting upon a jeweled throne inside the chariot. His body, adorned with divine ornaments, looked more beautiful than millions of moons. The farmer dog was singing the glories of Radha, Krishna, and Gauranga. The Siddhas fanned him with chamaras as he soared back to Goloka. The Lord Brahma, Shiva, Sanaka, this is 4 Kumara, Sanaka means, and other demigods surrounded the chariot and sang Gauranga's praises. All glories to the ocean of mercy, the darling son of Sachimata. Never before he has bestowed such mercy. He liberated a dog and sent him back to Goloka. The demigods continue, all glories to Gaurhari, the resort of the helpless. You are the best of all incarnations. By your mercy, the people of this age of Kali will attain salvation. What wonderful pastimes will you reveal in the future? When will we demigod become fortunate and receive your supreme mercy? Simply by your touch, a dog attains liberation. We have never seen such a mercy. Even in the pastimes of Lord Rishikesha, Krishna, we hanker for your mercy, so we too can attain the same destination as that dog. O Gaurai, we bow down to your wonderfully glorious lotus feet. You always overlook one's faults and offenses. In this way, any fortunate living entity who takes shelter of you, Lord Gauranga, will attain Goloka. Repeatedly singing these glorious transcendental pastimes, I, Lochan Das, continually marvel at the divine incarnation known as Lord Gaurachandra. You can see how beautiful pastimes, the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's why these instructions are very, very significant. Following the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, non-different, both. So, we'll see another pastime, how by simply getting the mercy from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even one who is poor. Vanamali Brahmana getting mercy. This is almost similar to the flower maker, garland maker in Krishna Leela. Similar, but not exactly same. All glories to Gadadhar, Gauranga and Narahari. One who hears the transcendental pastimes of Lord Viswambara will easily attain love for Krishna. Now listen to a wonderful pastime that took place in Navadvip. One day Mahaprabhu sat in his home along with his intimate associates, his face beaming blissfully. Lord was speaking Nectarean words. Suddenly a Brahmana named Vanamali arrived from East Bengal with his son. He was very happy to see the Lord and his devotees. In a choked up voice, Vanamali said to himself, I became poor and lost my purity, so I have come here seeking the Lord's help. I am sure that Viswambara is none other than God himself. By seeing him, the abode of all transcendental knowledge, my heart is pacified and I have attained perfection. As one gets healthy by drinking nectar, similarly my sufferings have vanished simply by seeing Lord Gauranga. As we are reading from 10.18 Gita verse, Amrutam, the last word Arjuna is saying, I want to hear more and more. We can see here that also is talked about. One gets healthy by drinking nectar, similarly any suffering have vanished simply by seeing Lord Gauranga. Lord Viswambara looked compassionately upon the Brahmana and his son. He sang the glories of Hari and gave them the treasure of Krishna Prema. Vanamali and his son danced in ecstasy. Within a moment their suffering disappeared. Lord Gauranga in the ocean of mercy is the ocean of mercy and the best friend of the poor. The next day Gaur Nataraj, the king of dancers, danced exuberantly in the midst of his Sankirtan party. Vanamali and his son became enchanted by a most extraordinary sight. Gauranga appeared as a beautiful young boy with a body the color of a monsoon cloud. The Lord was wearing bright yellow cloth, held a flute, and had a peacock feather in his hair. All of Gauranga's followers took forms as cowherd boys of Raja. Vanamali also saw Radharani and Shyam in the topmost pleasure groves of Vrindavan. He saw Giriraj Govardhan, the Yamuna river, Bahulavan, Bandiravan, Madhuvan, and other places in Vrindavan. They saw the cows, Gopas, Gopis, Gopal, and the desert trees. Seeing that Madan Gopal and had now appeared in Navadvi, Vanamali and his Brahmana son succumbed to ecstasy and fell flat on the earth. Then Vanamali Brahmana hiked up his dhoti and jumped around, roaring, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Mahaprabhu stopped his captivating dance and had someone restrain the Brahmana. In this way, Lord Gauranga frees anyone from his karmic reactions and gives him love of God. Gaurasandara is decorated with celestial garland and sandalwood paste, has no material attachments. Gaurahari is known as Navavidhata Ratna. Navavidhata Ratna, the ever youthful gem like supreme controller. The Lord has nothing to do, yet he acts in the material world for the benefit of others. Gauranga freely distributes Krishna Prema to everyone. Lord Chanda says, may we always serve the ever youthful Supreme Lord Gauranga. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Namo Mahavadannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaur Tushe Namaha. So, thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Sriman Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Sriman Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Andhra Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. You can mention any reflections, corrections, comments, questions, if the time permits. Hare Krishna. I hope I didn't make you all sleep.
Hare Krishna.
Go ahead, Sandeep Prabhu.
No question. Sorry.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam Sarva Shila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for explaining both Krishna Leela and Chaitanya Leela together, the comparison, and also saying like how Krishna is our only shelter, and especially the definition that you're explaining of how service to Krishna is the only way we can understand Krishna. There's no other way, because body, senses and the mind has to be engaged. Just by engaging mind alone, it's not going to work. We have to use our body. Our senses has to be engaged. Otherwise, it's just going to be defeating and dragging the mind in different directions. Whichever way the senses pull, it will go. So it's all, I mean, the central point is so wonderful. And then my realization was like how every instruction in Bhagavad Gita, ultimately they all come together, they amalgamate, and then they just shine one main point of Bhakti. How it comes together, it's just so beautiful to see different facets. And I especially like the story of how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave mercy to the little boy who gave buttermilk to him. It is very sweet. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai. It's all his mercy and all our acharyas work. Thank you. Anyone else? Questions, comments, reflections, corrections also, please feel free to do.
Yeah, thank you, Krishnananda Prabhu. Such an elaborate and a wonderful, lecture that gives out what is called the summum bonum of all, our activities, that's culminating to the point of bhakti. Now we should perform that. Everything, always and all the time, should always engage in the service of the Lord. That theme, that core message is nicely explained. Thank you. Anything, anybody else? Any devotees?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu, Amritam.
Essence of all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhu. Very instructive class. Prabhu, my question is, when Lord Jagannath comes out on his Rath Yatra, there is no consideration of a person who's participating, so much so that when given the opportunity, you can even carry the deity. You don't have to be initiated also. So now the same thing with Mahaprabhu, who's Mahavadanyaya, but still there are some protocols to be maintained. Mahaprabhu's deities. So I'm trying to understand how is it Mahaprabhu being Mahavadanyaya, most merciful, and Lord Jagannath, of course, is also merciful. But why is it that there is no restriction with Lord Jagannath, but with Lord Mahaprabhu, we have some protocol?
Thank you. Thank you for bringing, by asking this question, I remembered one important past and significant lesson also. Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhu. There was a pastime we see in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so Leela, when the Sankirtan is happening, one day suddenly Srivas Thakur, one of the brahmachari, entered into Srivas Thakur's house while Sankirtan is happening. Then Srivas Thakur, this brahmachari was not ordinary brahmachari. He was only simply drinking only milk, full of austerities. When he entered into the house, Srivas Thakur said, oh, because understanding his nature, strict brahmachari, then he said, okay, all right, you just sit here and just see and hear the kit. Then Mahaprabhu started continuing the Sankirtan, but he's not feeling any joyfulness. Then Mahaprabhu immediately said, what's happening? Something is happening here. Anybody else other than our regular devotees here? Then Srivas Thakur said, yes, one devotee, nice brahmachari, drinking only milk. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised, what is this? Only devotees is not allowed. Throw him out. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very strict. Basically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very, very merciful, definitely, without a doubt. He is Patita Pavana. But only to give us the instructions in that, as we are discussing, in order for us to enter into Vraja Prem, we need to become free from desires. That doesn't mean we perform austerities like this brahmachari or grahastha or vanaprastha sannyas, but actual focus is being lost. Krishna is the only master. We are the only servant. And our duty is not to please our austerities, not to please our body, our senses, or what. It is what pleases Guru, what pleases the Supreme Lord. Those are the only two considerations we must have. Any other thing somebody may do, material sense, on a society level, they might be great scholar and great pious and whatnot. But they might have wonderful qualities. But in the sense of the entrance into the Lord's, especially Krishna Prema, especially Golok Vrindavan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, Svetadvip, in Golok Vrindavan, there is no possibility of entrance because it is missing the point of bhakti. Actual devotion begins when the person becomes actually dasa anugatya. We are discussing other day also. Anugatya means even for Paramashiva Mahadev himself has to become anugatya to become the gopis anugatya. Then only he can enter into the ras. Then only he could receive the mercy from Nanda Devi, enter into the Manas Sarovar. Then he became Gopeshwar Mahadev. Even for the Narada Muni for that matter. So unless somebody becomes, that's why Lakshmi Devi couldn't enter into the ras. Even now she cannot enter because she is not able to give up that. This duality, give up her chivalry, give up her chastity, give up her opulence. That there is a different, we see from Lakshmi Devi is not in the mood of gopis. She is in more of Aishwarya Bhav, not in the other Bhav. That is what is restricting her to enter into the Raja Bhav. She cannot become a gopi. She cannot enter into rasa. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give that Krishna Prema. But if he doesn't teach us, that he simply allows, then he will also think, all right, I can do this, perform austerity, and then I can simply carry on. So it may not be exactly pleasing to Guru or the Lord, but I can carry on. It may be pleasing to our mind. We may think like that, but actually, is it pleasing? That we don't. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching different, in different pastimes, is teaching differently to Ramananda Roy and other places, especially King Pratap Rudra also. So, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most merciful. When we see this pastime, as I mentioned, there is another puppy pastime I haven't read, but that pastime also, even a dog, other Sivanand Sains also brought a dog, that also was delivered. This is another pastime Gochandas Thakur is giving. So that as Lord Jagannath, we know and we heard and we see every day, regularly we hear the pastime of Lord Jagannath, how he very mercifully comes out. Same as that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his Sankirtan during the Rath Yatra also. He's giving that elaborate. But in order for us to understand, when he started the Sankirtan, he must teach the lesson. That's why he didn't allow anybody. First, we must concentrate on our bliss internally. If you don't have a bliss, then milk will become, as what they say, milk you have to become, make it thick. You become more and more, you make it diluted, then we cannot attain concentrated bliss. So that's why Mahaprabhu is teaching both the points. He's very merciful. He's very, even sometimes he becomes strict, showing that, but immediately Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who is not different from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gives mercy to Krsna'as, various devotees, even to King Pratap Rudra, that is Nityananda Prabhu's mercy, Ramananda Ray's mercy, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's mercy. By all of their mercy, so King Pratap Rudra got mercy in terms of getting Uttariya cloth. That's why when we do Abhishek, get Mahacloth, anything of paraphernalia of the Lord, whether jewelry, whatever it is, peacock, feather, don't lose anything. Don't lose. We must be very greedy for all these things. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just giving the Uttariya to his son, to King Pratap Rudra, then he was as good as that. Is not different from the Lord. It is paraphernalia of the Lord. Then his whole life is just simply, he was in ecstatic bliss. Then he brought, okay, call his son. This is all Nityananda Prabhu's plan. Even though Mahaprabhus are not ready to give, but Nityananda Prabhu is ready. In this way, Mahaprabhu arranges through different avenues to teach and glorify Nityananda Prabhu, to Guru Tattva, to make people to surrender to Guru, not directly jump to Krishna. So various lessons from different angles when we look at Mahaprabhu's pastime. So that is what is the significance from my understanding, from my, at least at this time, whatever thoughts given by our acharyas. So that's what I could think of to my reflection.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice. Thank you.
Points, any other things? Already 21. Everybody has other things to do.
Yeah, we also